in a variety of occasions, a hypothetical bill that puts forward either an extension or an expansion of the payroll does not yet exist. We put out SAPs when there are bills to put out SAPs on.
The idea of rolling back the
There
semester.
is a bill on in the Senate that will be voted on later this week, and we fully support that bill. Ed.
I want to make sure before we lose you, we get you reacting to Iran. The UN Security Council condemned the fact that the government there did not help secure the British diplomatic offices. I wonder if you could react to that, but also, has the President instructed any U.S. personnel to do anything with U.S. embassies around the world and other hotspots? Is there any concern about U.S. embassies around the world?
I don't have any announcement to make with regard to the second part of your question. You might want to check with the State Department, but I'm not aware of anything with related to the events in Tehran. I put out a statement earlier today, as you know, saying that the United States condemns in the strongest terms the storming of the British embassy in Tehran. Iran, as every other country has a responsibility to protect the diplomatic missions present in its country and the personnel stationed in them. I would also note that Iran has a responsibility to protect diplomatic personnel, not just to protect them, but not to try to assassinate them, which was another issue that we dealt with not too long ago. So Iran's behavior outside of international norms is well established, and this is another item in the catalog of particular transgressions that the Iranian regime has perpetrated over the months and years, and we strongly condemn it.
Very quick follow-up. You note the storming of the diplomatic offices, the embassy, but also the attempted assassination of the Saudi ambassador. Does that not suggest that sanctions, while they've hurt the Iranian economy, they have done nothing to stop Iran from operating outside international norms?
Well, what we know, Ed, is that we have built an unprecedented international coalition behind the effort to isolate and pressure Iran, to get it to change its behavior, to prevent it from pursuing nuclear weapons. We have made, through that effort, the choice ever more starkly clear to the Iranian regime that faces them, which is further isolation, further pressure, further scorn in the eyes of the international community, or a decision to get right with the world, to live up to its international obligations and fulfill its responsibilities. We have recently, as you know, put forward even tighter sanctions on the Iranians, so have other of our partners internationally, and we will continue in that effort in a variety of means, not just through sanctions, to isolate and pressure Iran.
The president is now in a TV ad speaking to camera saying the 2012 campaign has begun, and I know yesterday you guys were pushing back very hard on this concept of it just being a coincidence how many swing states the president has been, but tomorrow you're going to Scranton, Pennsylvania, a swing state. How is this not just a straight up political
Well, you are an expert, there's no question, Chuck, on how this works, but we did win Pennsylvania by double digits. I suppose that it might be a swing state next year. You know more about this than I do. The point I made yesterday, which I think bears repeating, is that Virginia's 10 minutes away from the Oval Office. Every president, including this one, makes a lot of visits to Virginia to get out of Washington. This president has. Because he also happened to have won Virginia in 2008, it is now viewed as a battleground state. Every president, everywhere in the country. It's part of his responsibility, serving the American people, to get out and be among them and to speak with them about his agenda or her agenda. This president will continue to do that. It is also true that we are moving forward in what will be a presidential election year, and this president is running for re-election and fully intends to carry out his role as a candidate and to win re-election. And so that process is also underway, but it is a separate process. And at this point, because the president faces no primary challenger, and the president has enormous responsibilities as president to fulfill, principally to do everything he can, both legislatively and using his executive authority to grow the economy and create jobs. He is overwhelmingly focused on that task and not on campaigning.
How much time is he focused on the campaign on a given day?
On a given day, I can't do it on a given day. I would say on a given week, about 5% of his time. Let me get to Stephen, who's patiently.
What does the administration think about Russia's statement that it's time for an end to ultimatums to Syria? And it certainly seems like Russia is acting directly against the US and Arab League bid to further isolate Damascus.
Well, I would say a couple of things. One, as I noted yesterday, the chronology here with regards to Syria, I think, tells a very significant story about growing international consensus that the Assad regime has behaved reprehensibly rather. It has perpetrated gross violations of human rights against its own citizens. It has used excessive violence and force against its own citizens. There is broad international consensus around that idea, and that is why you see so much pressure being brought to bear, not just by the United States, not just by Western nations, but also by nations in the region. So I think that's an important point. We have an important and relationship with Russia that encompasses a lot of issues. We don't agree with Russia on every issue, but we certainly have agreed on many and have made significant progress as a result of the agreement that we do have.
Is there any concern that in recent weeks Russia's become, perhaps since the transfer of power was kind of mooted, it seems to become a little bit more hawkish on the international stage?
Well, I would simply stand back and take note of the fact, with regard to Iran, subject we were just discussing, that in the bilateral meetings the president had with President Medvedev, there was no debate about Iran's behavior. There was no disagreement, rather, about Iran's behavior. And you noticed that in the wake of that, when there was a vote at the IAEA Board of Governors, that there was a great sweeping consensus in support of that vote. I think that, again, we have an important relationship with Russia. We have a number of issues that we agree on, and obviously we don't agree on everything. John Christopher, the last one. Yeah.
Yes. Does the decision from Pakistan to skip the Afghan conference in Bonn, Germany on December 5th trigger any concerns from this White House that Pakistan is withdrawing from all international efforts to stabilize the region of Afghanistan before and after the troop withdrawal on 2014?
Well, I appreciate the question. We certainly urge Pakistan to participate in this conference. It's very important for the future of Afghanistan. Pakistan obviously will play an important role in the future of Afghanistan, and we urge them to participate in the conference. Thank you.
May I have a follow-up on Russia?
I got to run. I'm late. Sorry.
Behind you.